think we consider that would be successful if nobody talks about payments anymore in the world.
POS systems will disappear at some point in time very soon, and digital wallets will take over. I think that by analyzing that data, you will be able to offer better financial services out of it.
We are now at a very unique moment in time where technology, consumer expectations, and companies come together to really transform the payment landscape.
23% of cyber attacks globally are targeting financial services. Being able to defend yourself in real time and trigger an automated response wouldn't be possible without AI.
Welcome to PayTalks, where some of the brightest minds in the industry explore what's next for B2B payments. Powered by PagoNxt Payments and Microsoft. In 2025, the payment industry is at a tipping point. Global real-time transactions reached 266 billion in 2023 and are expected to more than double to 575 billion by 2028, with Europe and Brazil leading the way. Today, with leaders from PagoNxt Payments by Santander, PayPal, Microsoft, and connecting the dots in payments, we'll explore the disruptions that will define the sector and how companies can prepare to lead the next wave. First of all, welcome. Welcome José Luis Calderón, Arthur Bedell, Beatriz Jiménez, Paco Salcedo. José Luis, can you please tell us about the disruption that you see or you foresee in 2025 in payments?
I think there are many things going on in the industry as we speak, right? From artificial intelligence to instant payments to the eruption of stable coins and all the infrastructure. But saying something about 2025 that is going to be disruptive is quite difficult because we're talking about a very short time frame, right? But if I had to choose one, specifically on the B2B side, what I would say definitely is that the intensification of the use of instant payments is going to be the trend, right? And this is going to be applying to all the different segments, from SMEs to large corporates to financial institutions, right? And there are many examples. If you go to SMEs or to companies that require e-commerce, you're going to see a trend to use alternative payment methods that are going to be requiring and bringing you the possibility to receive your money instantly in opposition to what is happening today in several industries, to large corporates that are using instant payments in order to pay the vendors instantly or to pay taxes instantly or to clear their duties in customs instantly. That's a clear example. Or even financial institutions that are more and more exploring the utilization of schemes like delivery versus payment or payment versus payment in order to execute transactions instantly and to reduce the need of collaterals, of liquidity, and to reduce the cost of funding, right? So if I had to choose one, clearly it would be instant payments.
Any other predictions? I'm seeing Beatriz, you wanna say something?
No, I do agree with what has been mentioned, and I think that probably we're experiencing a huge transformation because all these different trends are converging and integrating, and it's not the impact of only one of them, but actually the combination of them with probably, in my opinion, artificial intelligence leading in the changes that are coming, together with alternative payments that some were mentioned, stable coins, also instant payments, buy now, pay later. The expectations of the consumers are changing dramatically to expecting hyper-personalized omnichannel payment experiences that artificial intelligence can bring us, no? And we have the concept of agentic commerce when we see that consumers would interact directly with autonomous agents. And this has implications for both merchants and consumers. Consumers have a vast choice that they need to get recommendations in order to interact with these agents. They expect a frictionless and seamless experience, and merchants lose part of these connections with their consumers. So the role of payments in the near future, in 2025 and beyond, changes from being probably only a small piece on the customer journey to be a strategic connector in the customer journey of consumers and merchants. And that's where I believe that interoperable platforms that integrate solutions like instant payments that were mentioned, cards, buy now, pay laters, and all different types of payments are critical in the evolution of payments to actually meet these high-personalized expectations that consumers have today.
Arthur, any comments on that? Any on those predictions?
Yes, quite a few. So candidly, besides stablecoins, it's all about data. You talk about AI, it's data-driven. You talk about RGP, it's data-driven. Everything is based on data, and I think that's the layer that we need to get to. Europe is advancing, obviously, at a pace like very other regions in general on that front. Why? Because in order to have anything be interoperable, you need the data to be shared. Now you need secure data to be shared. There's a lot of things. You talk about AI. I think agentic purchasing, which is what you're mentioning, yeah, it's coming. It's much closer than most people actually think it is. I see that firsthand and may have tried already like a prototype. But AI actually can also be used in different ways. I think that AI can potentially also replace a lot of the payments teams, right? So if you think about it, if you have a clean data, right, and you have that across multiple merchants and companies start putting together, banks start putting together all of the data, you can actually have all of the trends and understand how each company should be functioning just because you have an AI that actually can gather a lot more data and understand it. And from that perspective, like I think that a lot of the things around payments team being 200, 300, 400 people is going to disappear. You're going to have a lot of the strategy being driven by AI and other things. So I think I agree with you, right? Like we're already in April, I think, close, yeah. There's not that much time in 2025, but over the next, I think 18 months, you will see a massive growth of AI. And AI is already, I live in San Francisco, it's everywhere. You have autonomous vehicles literally driving us everywhere already. So it's evolving, and in the payment space, it's going to take the payment space by storm.
Paco, we must ask you from the technology perspective, how do you see AI affecting payments and the automation of financial processes?
Well, big time. I love, by the way, what has been mentioned already. But I will say there are three main dimensions of impact. The first one is operational efficiency and process automation. The second one will be customer experience and hyper-personalization. And the last one, risk management and fraud detection. If you take the first one, if you think of any heavy process that today happen in any financial institution or payment company, this can be revisited using GenAI and agents. Companies like JP Morgan are using AI to review any contract and replacing what the heavy teams are doing today. If you think of process like payment reconciliation today, you can reduce the time for financial closing by 40% and many others. And at the end of the day, you will make some process almost invisible. When it comes to customer experience, you see a lot of companies using foundational models to build virtual agents and virtual assistants that will help the customer to interact in natural language with the banks, with the payment platforms, not only to do queries or schedule payments, but also to get support in doing a financial investment, even in real time. So this will dramatically change the way we interact with those companies. And finally, if you think of fraud, and financial fraud is growing 30% annually, so it's a big topic. Using machine learning, what we use to call anomaly detection, but at a much larger scale, we can automatically detect outliers and any fraud activity and unblock it. So definitely in those three areas, so automation of processes, customer experience, and risk management, the impact will be very heavy. Yeah.
Anything to add on that sense, Arthur or Beatriz?
I think that if we actually link what Arthur said before with what Paco just mentioned, it's all about data and how data can be leveraged through AI, right? And there are different dimensions of this. That's why I believe that scale and quality of data is critical, because you can have the greatest model on earth, but if you don't have the scale of data, like coming from a company like PayPal that has been there for over 25 years with a network of over 430 million active customers, that gives you the scale to leverage the models that technology develops, like Microsoft from Paco, to really deliver and start delivering already what consumers are expecting. And this is not anymore the future. We were talking about 2024, 2025. This is actually reality. We already integrated AI in our infrastructure, and that is helping us to deploy better risk models, real-time fraud protection. This is allowing us to present the right payment method to the right customer at the right moment in time. Does it need to be buy now, pay later? Does it need to be instant payments? Does it need to be any other local currency payment? I believe that we are now at a very unique moment in time where technology, consumer expectations, and companies come together to really transform the payment landscape as we know it today.
And how do you see it evolving with AI on payment platforms, let's say, or wallets?
I do think it's changing already. So as we mentioned, in terms of seamless, frictionless payment experiences, also using payments and the data generated by payments to recommendations to help the customer make better choices when interacting with these agents that are already being deployed, to reinforce the security and the trust that is needed, because it's a human nature that if you're not interacting with another human, your level of concern and fear increases. So trust, security, and the ability to get the data that you need to make the best decisions that you can at the moment in time is becoming critical. And I always say that payments, you only want two things. One is that you pay when you want to pay, and the second one is that nothing else happens beyond that payment. So that protection and that security is needed more than ever in a world of instant, real-time, seamless, frictionless payment solutions.
You mentioned buy now, pay later. I think Arthur has a lot to say in this sense. With the growth of buy now, pay later and embedded payments, how do you see this transforming actually the payments ecosystem?
Well, I mean, you look at, I guess, one of the most leveraged, payment method in the world, Apple Pay, right? Like they're delivering already now, like they're including buy now, pay later within their stack. I think that in general, we touched on it. And just to take a step back before anything, when you think about AI has been in the payment space for years, for decades already. It's not new. It's just how we're changing from, I guess, machine learning to deep learning to Gen AI. That's really like the changes that we're seeing. It's not that it's new, like smart routing has been around for like decades. It's not new. So just wanted to say that because I was actually in Seattle with Kelly, which you probably do know. And we're having conversations, and yeah, like even though Microsoft, for example, have an insane amount of data, you're still looking for more, right? It doesn't matter the scale that you have. Like you still want your algorithms, right? Your agents to be working with more data, more accurate data, faster and faster. So like, I guess I see that trend evolving and it's exponential. So like we'll see even more developments on that front, and totally agree with Beatrice as well. In terms of buy now, pay later, I think it's about consumer choice, right? I was thinking about it. I think it was one of those shower moments, but I was thinking about it. And how come today, right? It's the merchant that decides which payment methods can the consumer use? Why isn't it the consumer coming to check out and having their preference choice and just coming and just paying with it? Because each payment method needs to be integrated to the checkout of a merchant. But I think that over time that will change. And I think buy now, pay later is one step in that direction, giving more flexibility and more choice. And that's going to continue evolving. You see it in different markets. You see it now not just as a single payment method, but also included into wallets. Same thing for embedded finance. I think that embedded finance is also going to go into the wallets. And one thing that people, I guess, started thinking about now is transactional data has so much value. You can get so much out of a person or a business out of their transactional data. You can analyze it. I think that by analyzing that data, you will be able to offer better financial services out of it. And I think that's the trend that we're going to see. So like we're going to see that embedded finance, which is something that I've been talking about for probably like 4 or 5 years now, is going to go worldwide. I haven't seen a platform today, and maybe PayPal can do it, I don't know, but like a platform that can just offer global financial services to companies everywhere, right? And so I think that will be the next step. I think it's about choice. Like it's about consumers' choice. The adoption is scaling. I think they've put in place, talking about risk, we talked about this a little bit before, but they've put in place better risk and fraud parameters to also mitigate kind of, only seeing a first payment and not seeing payments afterwards for buy now, pay later. Same thing for embedded finance. If you give a credit line and things like this, but understanding if consumers will be paying, businesses will be paying or not. So like AI will continue to help on that front as well, based on the data. We come back to like the essential component of it. But I see growth. I think we're just we're still in the infancy phase. I think maturity is very far from being reached.
You mentioned the word global. Let's talk about international payments. Like, what do you see, José Luis, are the biggest challenges in international payments, and how can we solve them?
21st century is finally coming to international payments. in a way, because this has been an area where the solutions available in the market hasn't been the right ones for consumers, for SMEs, for even big companies, right? I think we have to say that there's been enormous progress in the last years. Specifically, you can see now a much better user experience when it comes to any individual making an international payment. A lot of fintechs have come into this space in order to provide new solutions. You have as well companies, cooperatives like Swift that has improved massively the speed in transactions. So these 2 to 5 days that we see in all presentations in order to deliver an international payment is no longer happening. Okay, it's a myth, I would say. You have now the eruption of stablecoins that promise to be the ultimate solution for international payments. So I think the industry in general has taken into consideration that we need to apply again techniques and technology of 21st century into international payments, right? So with all this, I think we're going to get to a technical solution that works, but still, I think there's a big problem on pricing, right? So all these transactions are super expensive when it comes to fees, when it comes to FX spreads that are still charged massively to SMEs, to individuals specifically, and the transparency, right? So it's quite cumbersome for any, again, company or individual that wants to make a payment, how much the payment is going to cost, right? Which is something that shouldn't be happening in 21st century. I think there are companies working in order to make this affordable for the community. But the fact is that there are a couple of sources of cost that we need to solve. And here, I fully agree that artificial intelligence is going to help massively, right? So first one is source of cost is all the AML, FCC, CFT environment. At the end, we need to protect the industry and the world from these channels being utilized in the wrong way in order to do anti-money laundering or financing terrorism. And this is a very huge cost that can be massively reduced by the application of artificial intelligence, as you well said. And another one is the cost of liquidity, right? So here probably stable coins, as I said at the beginning, could be a solution because it would reduce significantly if you start developing schemes with payment versus payment that don't require big collaterals or big guarantees in the ACHs, etc., will reduce significantly the cost of funding and will make this much more affordable, right? So I think we are in the right trend in order to sort out for good the issue that we have as a world with international payments, but still there is plenty to do, and we need to work and rely on these technologies in order to make it happen.
Any words on that?
Well, I do have a question, actually. We talk about stable coins, and there have been some big announcements in Europe, specifically around the digital euro. I obviously live in San Francisco, and I'm not going to ping anyone. I'm just going to leave it open-ended. But how do you think that's going to impact potentially? Because my perception of it is it's taking almost like a step back in terms of enabling innovation by actually centralizing everything like APAC is doing it and have been doing it from a currency perspective. Do you guys think that that's going to slow down potentially the European adoption of stablecoins and leveraging that technology? Or do you guys think that it's still going to happen because businesses are going to want to leverage it?
I can take that because I'm very much involved in the design and implementation of the digital euro. I think it is an interesting alternative. As you know, that the ECB is working on. We have been having a lot of conversations with the ECB, with the European Parliament. I think this could be an alternative as a payment method, okay? But as well, in order to counteract the utilization of stable coins massively, specifically in the case of US dollars, right? I have to mention as well that there are alternatives for the digital euro, which are the interoperability of the different local systems that we are working on. Probably you read, I think it was yesterday or even this morning, a letter from Wiro, that is the European one of the European alliances that are developing international payments, P2P and P2M. And from the Santander part, from the Spanish community, Italian community, and Portuguese community that we have formed the Europa Alliance, we are in full conversations with Wiro in order to make all our solutions interoperable. So what does it mean? It means that me as a Spanish consumer can use Visum in order to make a payment to you that you're going to have an account in the Netherlands, for instance, right? Using Visum, not using a completely different system that needs to be developed in the European Union. The next challenge is how we're going to be using our solution, Visum, not only to pay in-store or in e-commerce in Spain, but in the Netherlands as well, right? Because we need to make all these systems interoperable. So we are working massively with all the banking community and with all these schemes in order to provide an alternative and the real rails in order for the digital euro to make it happen as a reality, not starting from scratch in the utilization of these solutions, because we need to bear in mind that all these local solutions have today around 150 million citizens in Europe using them, right? So that's super powerful. So only in Spain we have 28 million clients using Visum. If you go to Italy, it's like about 5 million. In Portugal, it's like 8 million. So it's going to be interesting, right? So we are, in the next 18 months, are going to be critical in how we design the digital euro, jointly with the ECB, and what is going to be the value and the real utilization of the digital euro, if it's going to be a pure payment method, or if it's going to have more, alternatives or more other uses more related to stablecoins.
And maybe would like to add, and coming back to your initial point of flexibility and providing options, no? We all know that we pay very differently depending on the country we live in, right? And if we talk about international and cross-border, giving the consumer the option to pay with the payment methods that they used to pay with is probably the most relevant. We started our business 25 years ago by doing that. Now we operate currently in 200 markets, integrate the most relevant alternative payment methods in our network, providing that trust that we were talking about in all these markets. So cross-border commerce is very, very relevant. We probably saw the data from the CMC in Spain just published a couple of weeks back. The e-commerce volume from Spain, more than 57% is done from Spaniards buying abroad. Right? So if you buy from a merchant abroad, you probably don't know that merchant, you want to pay with a payment method that you trust. And it happens also the other way around in many cases. And in the specific case of Spain, we have an unbalanced situation because only 15%, a little bit less than 15% of people outside of Spain buy actually in merchants in Spain. So there is clearly a need from Spanish merchants to expose themselves internationally. We did a study last year, and only 9% of SMBs currently sell abroad online because they do not offer the payment methods that they need to do. This is because they feel it's a complex. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills, and as you were mentioning, in many cases, they believe they need to integrate payment method by payment method. That's why, coming again to my initial point, I think interoperable platforms, like for example PayPal, can have one integration and give you the possibility to have all these alternative payment methods at once, being able to operate cross-border internationally in a trusted way that consumers know about, and that simplifies the complexity of international trade to consumers as well as to merchants, is really critical. Because all these SMBs that have done it, only this 9%, I think it was around more than 80%, regretted not having done it earlier. So I think it's our duty as payment providers, payment partners, to facilitate the international trade, the cross-border payments, to do it in a secure, cost-efficient way and leveraging the technology that we have at our disposal. So not everything is new. This has been happening with PayPal for 25 years, but we have now new rails, stable coins, AI, data, etc., that can help us to take it to the next level. That's also why we are also investing in stable coins, the PayPal USD coin that is also already being used to buy, not only to invest. So some people would think that crypto was only about investment and speculation. Now this is becoming real. There is a true problem to solve, as you were describing, Jose Luis. So it is very relevant. And I'm very curious to see how this evolves in the future months, I would say. It's not even years.
And it's a great opportunity for banks. I mean, the SMB segment, definitely, to help them to expand internationally.
And how's regulatory evolution, such as PSD3, affecting innovation in payments, Beatriz?
As I was mentioning, everything is coming together. We have regulatory changes, we have technological changes, we have consumer expectations changes. I believe we have not even yet really leveraged or got used to PSD2, and we're already talking about PSD3. So regulation is needed. We need to protect consumers. We need to ensure that there is a competitive landscape, but sometimes it's also making it hard to innovate. No, Arthur was commenting, he's coming from the US. One of the things that Europe knows how to do is to regulate. Sometimes some people would say that, and it is true. I mean, we're taking as example in many things, no? But it's also hard for companies to keep using technology and keep the pace on new regulations like PSD2, PSD3. So I would like to first to see how PSD2 lands, if we are able to see the benefits of open banking, instant payments all coming together before anticipating when it's going to come with PSD3.
And what risks are there from like a technology perspective in this evolution of payments and this integrated ecosystem, Paco?
Well, the first is cybersecurity, and let me say that that the financial sector is a primary target. So 23% of cyber attacks globally are targeting financial services, and this is a main concern. And it's not just about the volume, it's about the sophistication of attacks. So if you think of, and that can range from very large phishing campaigns that can even target very senior managers to even sophisticated attacks that we call man in the browser. That means that you have a malware in your browser, and when you are doing a transaction in real time, this piece of software can change data in the transaction or extract the data from it. And that poses a serious problem worldwide. As I said, is volume and sophistication. And to fight against this, we apply different strategies. First, it's what we call the zero trust strategy, but also to be able to detect threats at scale. In Microsoft, we process more than 70 trillion signals per day. And that means that you are able to detect real-time specific anomalies. If you think how AI is applied in this domain, you can immediately identify a breach, block an access, trigger an incident response, and this in real time. So this idea of being able to defend yourself in real time and trigger an automated response wouldn't be possible without AI. That's fundamental if we want to keep growing in that space. I mean, we need to make this space trust. Trust is key, but also the way we defend has to be holistic. And if you think of identity, data, and device, and understanding that the identity is not just a person, can be an AI agent, can be, we are protecting in multiple layers. And we need to have this end-to-end approach. And again, AI is part of the answer. And also to understand that the problem is not just technology, it's also awareness of every user and collaboration. So in Microsoft, we are active member of Financial Services ISAC, Information Sharing and Analysis Center. We are constantly collaborating with banks, with the Cybersecurity European Agency, sharing frameworks, sharing data. And I believe it's a collective effort. We're very active also with Banco Santander. But that's, I would say, the main threat we're facing altogether.
Any thoughts on that?
I love the identity comment, to be honest. I think you look at what the biggest companies in payments are doing, and I'm talking Visa, MasterCard for a second, right? They're investing tremendously into identity with network tokenization and everything related to it. A token itself is not just a card, right, being put into a token. It can contain anything. You talk about, the new trends like agent in purchasing and everything else. There will be innovations around there as well. I think when you think about identity, that same token where you can store more information in there can really be used then to manage risk, fraud, and also expand kind of the use cases. Tokenization should also be something that you bring towards financial services and not just payments, because you can store so much information into one. And so I think that's, as the networks potentially keep investing into that technology with the help of PayPal, with the help of Microsoft, the help of PagoNxt, I think there will be more information being stored in there. It will be easier to recognize the user, identify a user. I mean, we talk about passkeys, we talk about biometrics, we talk about all of those solutions which are technologically driven. But I think, right, to Paco's point, it's understanding and being aware of the issues that you have in front of you. And I think that's, the networks can think about it, but they shouldn't be alone. They need help from companies like Microsoft that also, in my opinion, are even more technologically savvy than the networks might be. PayPal, same thing, right? Like there are companies out there that really will be helping on the identity front. And I think that, like you look at OpenAI and then you look at WorldCoin, 2 companies founded by Sam Altman, right? Just to finish up on there, one of them is literally pushing AI, right, and the extent of it. The other one, officially, at first, was literally there to identify the user was not an AI. Literally, that was the second company, WorldCoin. Now it's a financial layer, which is different, but that's what the company was created for. So I think there's a lot happening in that space, and I'm excited to see everything touches identity, because payments and identity will keep being brought together.
Have you seen anything that has caught your attention recently in regards of innovation? Like, for example, recently I saw a video of like Palm Pay, which is this way of paying with your palm for WeChat or something like this. I'm not even sure if it's real or not, but have you seen anything recently that has caught your attention in terms of payments or any disruption?
In the US, right, Amazon has launched Amazon One. I think everybody is aware of this, which is like you literally walk in the stores, you can put your palm, but you can also just walk into a store, you pick up anything you want and you just exit. You don't have a checkout experience. It's fully invisible. So things like this are happening. WorldCoin, which I mentioned before, they're analyzing the iris, right? And so that's how they actually make sure that the identity is confirmed, because each iris is actually fully unique. And so like we're seeing things like this kind of happening, using more of the biometrics to pay, I think less of the physical goods. I also think that in ways of paying, invisible payments is great. There's just one use case in which I don't think it's applicable. It's in the luxury sector. I think you should embellish the experience instead of like completely making it invisible. Why? Because people love bragging. People love to go out there and like say, hey, I bought that Louis Vuitton bag. Like, yes, we know, we can see that, right? But like they love like, bragging, paying, taking their black card out and paying with it. They could just pay with their phone, but no, they decide not to. So there will be innovation around the how you pay. My hot take is POS systems will disappear at some point in time very soon, and digital wallets will take over. Stable coins are also going to be something that will be leveraged in many cases, potentially embedded into digital wallets, just like PayPal is doing and more. I think the how you pay is going to evolve. And I think that, some traditional things are going to be removed very soon.
So if you had to bet on a single disruption for, let's say, the next 5 years of a payment method or a payment, innovation, what do you think it would be, José Luis and the rest of you?
To me, definitely would be invisibility of payments, right? And just as a joke, if you are buying a Birkin bag, you don't need to show that you are wealthy by showing a black card or whatever, because you are buying a Birkin bag, right? So in a way, no. But jokes aside, I think invisibility of payments it's going to be the trend, no? And if you think about it, as an industry, I think we consider that we will be successful if nobody talks about payments anymore in the world, right? So, we have been talking about agentic AI, right? Why this is happening? Because we as consumers don't want to spend time in marketplaces looking for stuff that we need, for shoes just to go running. What we want to do is go running because this is what I like, what we like. We don't want to be spending time in marketplaces to find the right shoes. Do you think that we want to spend time on making a payment, right? So at the end, the invisibility of payments would be our success as an industry, right? And, you don't see conferences of people talking about plumbing, right? And this is what we're doing, to be honest, right? And I think, does this mean that we're going to be losing our jobs? No, because obviously this is super complex and the art of moving money is going to be there forever. But in terms of user experience, this will disappear at some point in time, right? And we see some examples of how this is being completely disintermediated or disappearing from the customer experience when they want to pay, they want to buy something, and even from companies, right? So I think, to me, clearly it's going to be invisibility.
Anything else?
I think that you mentioned agentic commerce, which I think is going to be one of the big changes. About invisibility and seamless, frictionless experience, I also think that it might be a matter of choice. That consumers still want to choose how they want to pay, and giving the flexibility is going to be critical. The more invisible the payments become, the more risky they also are. So as we transition into seamless, frictionless experiences, the interaction with agents, AI-driven, more choice, the more important it's going to be protected to all these cybercrime, fraud. Because I always say instant payment, instant fraud. Everything is instant. It's more difficult to protect. So I think that thinking a little bit back, many of the things that we have been talking about today were things I was talking about 10 years ago. But now we're talking about reality. So I think that we are now transitioning into a period where everything that we have been talking about for the past 10 years is actually present in our day-to-day, scaling at a rhythm that has probably been unseen because of the convergence of all this technology, regulations, consumer appetites, and companies working towards it. So seamless payments in agentic commerce and lots of innovation in fraud protection. The more real time, the more instant things are, the more fraud you will be getting. And I think, Paco, you will be
there, yeah.
agreeing with me.
Fighting the fight, yeah. So listen, I mean, it has been mentioned before. I think AI has moved from predictive to generative, and now we're living the next wave of agentic, where AI is taking actions on your behalf. So in fact, what you can think is that there is a big paradigm shift in any company, and of course in financial services, from I would say structure form-based systems to conversational, adaptive, and predictive experiences. And this will happen, and it's happening in every industry, of course, in financial services at the core. But this will transform the way we work, the way we interact, the way we live. And you see companies adopting AI copilots, for example, at scale, like UBS and many others. And this will require from us to adapt, to learn, and will make technology more and more transparent, because the way we interact with the systems will be much more human-led than before. And that means that we will need to make the technology trustable, and we will need to make the systems ready. So I would say agentic AI, it's what really is going to transform in the next 5 years the way we live and the way we operate and the way we work. Yeah.
Already. So if you had to say in one word, what is the key disruption in payments in the next, I don't know, let's say 5 years, what would it be, José Luis?
Invisibility.
All right. The word is already taken. Arthur, you're next.
Agentic.
What about you?
I'm going to say connected.
Connected. All right.
And intelligent.
Beautiful. All right. Well, before
You can combine all of them.
before we leave, I'd like to ask you out of curiosity, when was the last time you paid in cash? Can you remember the last time you paid in cash?
I can.
You've been traveling a lot, right? When you travel,
It was in Lebanon.
In Lebanon?
Because there's a problem in the banking system. But yeah, that's the only one I can remember.
Yeah, well, I would say, I mean, the only moment I'm looking for to pay in cash is to get rid of a piece of cash that happens to be. Because otherwise, you know.
You know what? Like, funny enough, just like one little thing. One thing that I think I learned recently about Spain is people still pay in coins to go to the either the washing machines or the car washes. Is that
the
true?
car washes?
Is
Yes.
that still like
you
No,
can now
you get a
buy
coin in the
a fake
petrol
coin
station.
to put it there.
okay?
Which is even worse, right?
The truth of the matter is that actually in Spain, cash payments are above 60% of what is commerce today. So I don't think that we are a good sample. And as soon as you go out of Madrid, Barcelona, or the big cities, you start seeing people paying with cash a lot more than you do today. Good news are that digitalization is happening at a pace that has not happened before, that COVID helped with that also. But I would be really looking forward to see digitalization, for example, in Spain, overpassing cash.
I fear I'm going to be the outlier here because last time I paid cash was last Saturday. It's a situation. I have a group of friends that we meet from time to time. This time was in Easter, and don't ask me why. When we go for lunch, they always pay cash, right? So I have to pay cash because otherwise I'm the one paying by card and I need to receive the cash of all of them. I don't want to have more cash, right? So for these specific lunches with this group of people, I need to go to the ATM, take some cash out and pay cash with them, right? So
Strange these days, right?
Saturday,
Strange.
super
You need to
frictionless,
evangelize
invisible,
them, Jose
blah,
Luis,
blah.
and let them explain.
I need to ask them.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for traveling all the way from Miami, was it?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. And thank you all for your insights. It's been beautiful to have you here. Have a lovely day.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.